Now, a story went viral about a woman who was accused of tricking her husband to the UK and abandoning him at the airport. However, the woman came out with receipts debunking the claims and letting us know that the reason she did this was because she suffered physical and emotional, psychological, and mental abuse for 9 years from her husband. He was making irrational, rather, decisions with their money, beating her up in the middle of the night and then locking her out in her nightgown and all sorts of inhumane acts. What are your thoughts? Join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948 or tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag #YourViewOnTVC. Ladies, the matter of abuse, the way you people did, the way, when she reeled out her story, initially when the story of the man came out, everybody was like, oh, why this, blah, 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 blah. And then the receipts started coming out from the woman. And people were like, we knew a woman would not go outside the country and want to take care of her children alone. We know the pressure outside the country. And so for her to make this decision goes a long way to show that she has had enough. She said the scale fell off her eyes when he turned the abuse to his children, where he actually beat up a 6-week-old baby out of her hands. And it was like, how can you beat up a 6-week-old baby? At this point, she felt she had to take some steps at the end of the day. And she took the steps, and the best bet for her was tricking him. Come to the UK, and then you get to the airport, you take your children, because you know that there are laws in the UK that you are backing, women. They are in support of women folk. The women have those. That's why most women that leave the country wait till they get there and then started taking some steps because they know the law supports them. And so the men are at the short end of the stick to bear the brunt of this, because she also invited family members and they are like, no, we cannot meddle into this matter because our husbands, this one and that one. But that she waited this long to now take this step is mind-blowing to an extent for me, and it goes to show that she had strategized in her mind. I've had enough, but I need to take certain critical steps in such a way that my children will benefit at the end of the day. Let's hear you.
When I saw that story, I knew there was more to it immediately when the claimed family friend put it out there that her family friend was stranded in the UK and needed a job or an alternative plan to retain him in the UK. It just did not make sense that why would you be an amazing man, awesome personality, and somebody would just look at you and just abandon you like that. But when I read the woman's story, I was like, aha, forced to do, the pain. When you were beating the woman, pounding her, I read some comments that said, oh, that must have been the height of wickedness. No matter what, why would you keep him stranded like that? But he was the one that actually showed the first part of wickedness.
Pushed her to this.
Yes. The moment you raise your hand to beat a woman as a man, then there is that wickedness in you, because you cannot compare a woman's bones to a feminine bone. And when I read her story, she said this man is above 6 feet. Yes. He's about 120 kg, and she's just maybe 5'3", weighing barely about 65 kg. You want to kill the girl. He was beating her when she was pregnant, even after she lost the pregnancy.
That is even what got to me.
Pushed her out. She had to walk
3 days after she returned from the hospital, after giving birth. Absolutely. You beat her and she was bleeding.
And then when I read the chat, because the family friend also put out the chat that she was pretending to be happy. I think it was very strategic for her. I loved what she did, because if she had decided to start fighting him from from the UK, it would have been difficult, because these kind of men that are so engrossed with control, they want to control you, they want to use your children to make you exactly as a bait to make you feel bad, to treat you badly and all of that. So it would have been difficult for her to get her children back if she was going to fight like that. So what she did was the smartest move. I love it. Kudos to her, and I wish her all the best, because if she had stayed in the marriage because of my children, maybe it's not what we are saying that we'll be saying. I would have probably been saying, woman beaten to death because of this, because of that. So if a woman is saying that I'm taking charge of my life, I'm taking, giving my life a new narrative, and I want to start a new chapter with my children, I think we should give her a chance to do so, because some people are saying that no matter what, Kenny. And when a woman,
no matter what?
When a woman is badly hurt, when a woman is done, she's done. When she's still talking and trying to fight back and trying to tell you, this thing you are doing, I don't like it, this is you're treating me badly, answer that time. But when she stops talking, or when she keeps acting nice, despite the fact that you've been bad to her, uncle, be careful. Exactly. She already has something, planned up
in the bag.
Sleeves. Exactly. Because I saw some chats with her husband where she was saying, I can't wait for you guys to come. You guys are actually coming. I'm so happy. And the guy, to his responses, I could tell there was just some kind of sneaker. Thank you, my beautiful wife. It was not like the usual. It didn't sound like the usual.
What if it was saying, thank you, my beautiful wife?
You can just tell from the tone of
the response.
Yeah, this man must have done something before, but he's probably thinking, oh, maybe she has forgiven me. Let's all just go.
Let's just get to the UK first.
And see, removes her children out of the equation. All the best, sis. Let me leave you there for now.
This is for me.
For now.
Okay, so online and in our daily endeavors, I think there's also the danger of a one-sided story. Like what you mentioned, when you hear the story from one side, and you know how it is when people say stories to their advantage, they say it from their perspective or their point of views. When the other person speaks, you now be able to balance what it is. So when the story first came out, I was like, this story, sha. So when I heard, and the woman didn't just say, she put up pictures. So there was evidence.
Where she was beating.
Yes, to show.
Even some of her family friends were commenting that this girl, she went through hell. And this supposed family member, the wife said she did not even know her when they were in the marriage.
Exactly. So who is where coming from?
Right.
And there's this Yoruba term that they say, reke. You know, this woman reked him. Like she was taking it all in. And by the time she was able to give it out, she gave it out. You know when you're playing what? Pick 2, pick 3, semi-last card, last card. She gave him enough.
Check-up.
And she just do the check-up like this. I mean, it was now as if, woman, where are you coming from? So I like the fact that she was able to build into what she eventually achieved. But the thing about it also is, looking at it, an empowered woman can do that. So if she wasn't empowered to get the means of even relocating, of finding a safe space for her, of rescuing herself out of that situation, it would have been difficult for her to survive, right? So it is very important to understand as women, even though you're in a marriage that says, I don't want my wife to work, that gives you an avenue to take some things. But when you are empowered, right, you're submissive, but you're empowered, you know that you have your own. If anything happens, you can actually stand on your own and you'll be fine, right? And then the next...
Quickly respond to that. There are some empowered women that are still in this marriage... Struggle, domestic violence.
Yes.
That you have money,
and there are other things, there are other things too that matter.
It's so beyond the empowerment.
There are esteem issues around the fact that, and you know how it is where our society today makes it seem as if you are not in a man's house, you've not achieved anything, you failed.
We'll look into all of that. We have a caller on the line.
Already, I've not finished, no?
I know you have not finished. That's why I'm saying, okay. First slow. We have Solomon on the line calling from Enugu. Solomon, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning, ladies in the house.
Good morning.
Good morning. Could you speak up, please?
About the story of the woman.
Right.
You know, I want to use this medium, you understand?
Yeah.
To advise men. Because this variant of the thing about women and men treating their wife bad is becoming something else. You know, I'm a man and I'm married.
Really?
You know, there's a way that my uncle always advised me that if you want to go far, don't ever look at what your wife did to you or said to you. Because women are just like you. If you marry your wife, take that wife like just a new baby that maybe your two sisters. But for men, there's this animal life in them that I don't know whether it's what they always say, all those Igbo drinks or but my advice is actually that any man that wants to get married, whether wedding in church or in the court, they have to examine that man's brain. Because as I'm talking to you now, we are at my opposite neighbor. If you see what this guy did to his wife, if you see the wound at the back, and when they attacking him, every time we used to separate fight. In fact, to the extent that this lady went ahead and drank sniper, that she's tired, she don't want to do again. The other day, this girl packed her load and went to her father's house. And do you know that the parents, the mother, said that this is shame, we don't want this kind of thing, we don't want this kind of thing. Bomb back. And now, for 3 weeks, this girl could not go outside because of that, the shame in the street. So, for me, I advise, if somebody wants to marry your daughter or want to marry your sister, they have to take that person to psychiatrist and examine, or the doctor that can examine the person's brain, whether this person is functioning normal or not, because it's becoming something else. So for me, that lady, in fact.
Thank you, Solomon. A really sad one there, and the fact that the family actually asked her to return, despite what she has gone through, is another aspect we'll look into. But go ahead with what you're saying.
For the woman, I think that she's lucky to be alive, to have gone through all of that, and at this stage, and she ended up coming out of that. Not all women would have been that lucky.
Yes.
We would have just heard stories that man beats wife to death. So, even though she had a plan in mind and she was able to execute it, not all women would have had that opportunity. A lot of women, known, unknown, have gone in that process, thinking that they would execute their plan, and in the process, the man eventually kills. So, for women, I think that this domestic violence issue, because there are state governments also that respond to it.
Lagos State, for instance.
Lagos State, for instance, is beautiful. They do that a lot. And when you can call them and they take you out of that space, because at the end of the day, you may not have the chance to execute that. So for this woman, I'm grateful that she's alive till today. And for this woman, I think it's a national call, because the laws of the land where she went to protects women as against here, where number one, our culture, because the story says that she went to tell her parents. There are times when she will go at night at 2 a.m., 3:30 a.m. to her parents' house. So every time she went there, that means there was a go back to your husband's house somewhere in the background. And the laws of the land also, even when you want to go through the divorce process, they would give you, go for counseling, go for this one, mediation, you do therapy. The process is a lot.
Right.
Well, when she was able to move, she found out that, this land will protect me. Let me rather go there than stay here.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. MD calling from VI. Go ahead with your contribution. Good morning.
Good morning, House. I greet you all. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I really enjoy this program you people are on, and may God bless you always.
Amen.
Amen.
Sometimes we the men, we are very, very hopeless. Some men, I don't know what comes over them. You marry a wife, you hope that you loved her before you married her. Then while beating her, if whatever she does to you, at least whatever she has done to you, you need to have calmed down. If indeed you know that everything is very painful, you walk out of the house and go and come back. If by then your tension must have calmed down. Keeping a woman at home, beating her doesn't make any sense at all. So I believe that some men are not worthy to be among the men. You understand? I've married for about 32 years now. I've never wanted to beat my wife. And if you see her, you know that definitely I've never wanted to touch her for life. If you don't, no woman that will not annoy the husband, they will annoy you definitely must annoy you. And when they annoy you, you just walk away from the house. Give them time. Women, to punish a woman is very easy, not by beating. If you come home very late, you don't eat, you don't do this, don't do that, you look at it, definitely you are not with her. Definitely she will definitely change from that. But if you keep on beating, at the end of it, there's no love among the family again. So I believe the woman did the very right thing by taking her own decision on that. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you, MD, for your contribution. You see, it begs the question of why did you get married? What were you thinking when you said you loved this person and you wanted them to now be part of you? What is that thing that the person said that you looked the person in the eye and beat the living daylight out of the person, and your conscience is not pricking you that what you are doing, as you are even raising your hand, it's not pricking you that, okay, this thing that I want to do, what if she dies in the process? You know, we just had a situation where a lady was talking about how her husband abandoned her and 2 kids because they went to buy a car. She went to buy a car and used her name. And that was when the man changed. Now, the situation was bruised. So the man his pride was seemingly damaged. And so he tricked her to come to Lagos and in the process planned his way out of the country, abandoned her with 2 children, and we are seeing this situation. How do you do that? Okay, you say, okay, maybe she did not give you the money, she did not do this, she did not do that. Because when you look at the conversation that this lady dropped in terms of how the whole process began, talking about going to a particular hospital because they had limited resources and she felt, oh, this other hospital is cheaper. Let us go there. And then he began to react, and then you are hitting her, all of that. She was pregnant with your child. If there is a misunderstanding in communication, right, there are better ways of addressing issues. Right. We also do not know how he was raised, if perhaps what he knew is abuse and didn't know any better. There's also that aspect that he didn't know any better. You know, some people are raised in abusive homes, and, you know, they grow up thinking that is the best way to address issues with their wives, because that is what they see or they saw their father do at the end of the day. But there are also those who were raised in abusive homes and say, no, this is not right, right? So the choice is still yours, even though how these things impact people differ. Absolutely. But how do you hit someone you said you loved? You claimed, let me use the word, claim you loved. And you are seeing the person in pain. You apologized and then you did it again. Then there are mental issues there. There are challenges that have to be addressed. Absolutely. Yes.
I think when you are choosing a partner, it's very important to find a kind partner. Choose a kind man. Kindness it's a very important trait in a partner, because when the person is kind, when the person has the fear of God, there are some things that they will find unthinkable to do. Again, find a partner that has high self-esteem. They are self-aware, not somebody that is still lost in their journey in life. They do not even know what they stand for. What their values are not visible to you. You cannot even vouch for them to say that in this situation, this is what my husband or my wife would do. Because most men who beat their wives, I've noticed they are yearning for control. They do not know how else to show love, to make the woman submissive to them. Because for you to be a leader and for you to actually get submission, you must have the traits of a leader. You know, you must attract it. You do not force leadership. When you see people that are natural leaders, you just know that, this person, I just like him, I just like her, I like the way she carries herself, I like what she stands for, I like this. Okay. Naturally, people would gear towards such traits. But when a man or a partner lacks such traits and they want submission by force, then they will now resort to this kind of violence.
We have Ganiu on the line calling from Ikorodu. Ganiu, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. This issue of treatment of women, is rampant these days. I could remember when I was still small, my father and the other elders, we don't tolerate it in our family. There was a day one of my uncles maltreated his wife. My father and the other elders, they tied him to a swing machine and flogged him.
That's good.
That's too bad. When I was living in Oshodi, my landlord came to Ikorodu and removed his daughter from that man's house because she was maltreating her daughter. I've told myself, any man that maltreat my child, I will go and take it from the house. It's animalistic behavior, and we should stop it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ganiu, for your contribution.
Importance.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, the support system from family, because recently in India, a father actually went to take his daughter out of her marriage because she was being maltreated. I saw that story. And they celebrated her return.
Huge celebration.
I'm like, really? But we need to go on a break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us.